We are basically a service company. We don't sell any products. We do various kind of indoor environmental services. So just show you a bit on that.
It's a new normal out there. Unfamiliar elements impacting your business. Fear of the invisible, the unknown. What you need is a partner who can secure your indoor environments from virus, bacteria, mold, pollution. One name that holds the key to innovative and effective solutions. EBSCO. Leaders in indoor environment protection and restoration. From hospital operation theaters to airports. Pharma production floors to computer server rooms. Schools to hotel kitchens, and from power plant control rooms to factories. From shops to residences.
EBSCO India was started with a mission that we should provide solutions for the indoor and outdoor environments. Our first concentration has been air, which is one of the most important things that a human being needs for survival. And the quality of indoor air over the years has been going from bad to worse. And we've been just in closed environments putting in more and more people. And the effects on them have been pretty heavy. Our intentions are to even go to water, to soil, and that's how we started with that motive in mind, that mission in mind. We started building our company.
As the experts in the indoor environment protection and restoration business, we deliver full service capability. COVID-19 sanitization, HVAC duct cleaning, indoor air quality audits, kitchen and laundry extraction systems, asbestos management, surveys and abatement, fire and flood restoration, dry ice blasting. With deep expertise and specialized intelligence, EBSCO is an integrated ISO 9001, 14001 and 45001 accredited company. With an intrinsic DNA of safety, integrity, efficiency and best practices. Ensuring safe, healthy and hygienic indoor environments for over 2 decades, offering world-class services meeting certified global standards. We at EBSCO have the largest team of IAQ experts and NATCA certified professionals in India.
We have adapted the best standards in the world. We got ourselves, our people, our teams trained to those standards and successfully operating right across the country today.
We strive to provide our highest value and reliability to our customers across applications. 2000, we were called to sanitize the HVAC system in a Mumbai hospital before the Prime Minister's knee surgery. Fire restoration service at a 5-star hotel shopping area in record time. HVAC duct cleaning at a pharmaceuticals production floor, meeting US EFTA standards. Kitchen extraction hoods and duct systems as per NFPA 96 guidelines in 5-star hotels and corporate canteens across India. Restoring air quality to safe levels at bank premises, enabling higher productivity of bank employees. Asbestos abatement services at factories across India. Protecting high-end digital equipments impacted by indoor air quality like servers, preventing data loss and server downtime. 2020, we have done COVID-19 sanitization of 17 police stations in Mumbai to protect out frontline warriors. High traffic, high touch at airports, metro, bus stations, corporate buildings, hospitals, and hotels are being given antimicrobial active shield plus coating, which provides 24/7 protection up to 90 days. Blending knowledge, technology, and commitment, you back into business in no time, deploying a new era of environment protection technology and definitely providing certainty in an uncertain world.
The entire range of activities which we are doing is all related to protect us and also assure that what we leave behind for our children and future.
EBSCO, purify, restore, protect.
They are the lungs of our building. We breathe in through them and breathe out through them. The return air comes from there, and we supply it from there. An area which is ignored quite a bit because it's out of sight. Now, what are the consequences and what could happen with it is something which we'll be talking about. When you should do it, why you should do it, and what are the risks, how you should do it. What are the right questions you need to ask? When a contractor comes to you and tells you that I'm going to clean your duct, what are the questions you need to ask? What are the precautions you need to take? Nothing is safe. Everything you do in a building has a risk element. So how to cover that risk? So that's what we're going to talk about. Indoor air quality, now we've been talking about it all day. We said the temperature is something that affects us immediately. Humidity affects us immediately. We're talking about ventilation. Now the AHU duct system is the source from where we do the ventilation. Then there are biological contaminants inside a building. Then you have filtration systems also in place to protect dust from going to the duct system. But they don't catch 100%. If you go to your office and for 2 days if your table is not clean, there's a level of dust on it. And it's airborne dust. जमीन से dust तो अपने आप तो नहीं आया टेबल पे, वो तो हवा में था, उड़ रहा था. Now you've got a return air system which is taking the same dust through your AHU, through your filtration, and might be the most finest of the dust, which is the most dangerous to us, which is breathable, passes through the filters, the coils, and goes into the duct system. And everybody said that how indoor air can be worse than outside. What comes into the building never goes out. It stays inside. It accumulates further and further and further. Now, if you don't put some sort of protocol where you try and clean up some of that accumulated debris, dirt, dust, which forms the food source for any microbuilding, a buildup of just 0.042 inches of dirt on a heating or a cooling coil can result in decrease in efficiency of 21%. Okay, before it goes to that, it goes to the filters and coils. 21% is a lot of money. Like I said earlier, the hotel was running the ACs at 21 degrees or 19 degrees because the smell of mold was coming, because its filters and coils and the air handling system and the ducts were contaminated. 1 out of every 6 people who suffer from allergies. Asthma is a very common, बच्चों के साथ common. Dr. Priya spoke about children getting affected. And in offices, you'll find some people are all right. Some people sweater पहन के नाक साफ करते रहते हैं. और ये अक्सर you'll find in many buildings. People in some corners sitting like this. Now, a lot of these people get affected and they get ignored. And that's what something on IAQ audit we were talking about. They're being totally ignored. And if more than 20-25% people are in that condition, that building abroad is declared as a sick building. 20% of illnesses are either caused by or aggravated by polluted indoor air. आपको सर्दी जुकाम जो होती है वो फाउल उसी से होती है, हवा से होती है. You sneeze, and if the environment is bad, it only aggravates. You have high particulate level, so whatever you sneeze sticks to that particulate level and carries forward to the next person. It needs a source to transfer, and in polluted buildings it becomes even faster, even easier. Indoor environment ranks one of the top 5 environmental risks to public health since 9. This is a US figure. India में तो उससे ज़्यादा खराब होगा. ये US figures हैं. Indoor air pollution is one of our biggest environmental health threats, bigger than toxic waste. अभी toxic waste के बारे में हम लोग बात करते हैं काफी often. This area is toxic, but indoor environment and health situations are even worse. I was mentioning something that in buildings, in schools, most of the low-level schools or public schools had asbestos sheets as roofing, and children study there for 15 years. So 15 years of exposure, and the latency period is in the range of 20 years. तो स्कूल के बाहर निकलता है, काम करने का शुरू होता है. At the age of 40, he falls sick. He never knew why he got it. Okay, what are the IAQ factors? First, temperature. You feel it immediately. अभी मुझे 23 अच्छा लगता है, किसी को 19 अच्छा लगता है. It's very difficult to satisfy everybody. But that is the first thing we feel, and this temperature is monitored and controlled by the HVAC system and the ducting system. The volume of air at that temperature supplied through is what's deciding what temperature you're getting at. Next is humidity. If you have been in a dry climate, humidity could be as low as 40%, 30%. There they have to put humidifiers. I'm talking abroad. अपने यहाँ तो उतना problem नहीं है. But अपने यहाँ problem है high humidity. And generally we compare with outside humidity. Outside humidity high होगी, so our systems work harder. Now, high humidity in the system also affects growth of microbial. If it finds a food source, it's a conducive environment for it. Fresh air ventilation. The best strategy of everybody has spoken about in controlling COVID and bacteria, anything, is ventilate as much as possible. Have as many air changes as possible. Dilute the load, virus load. You have a diluted virus load, the chances of you getting infected is very low. So again, how do you ventilate? It is your duct system which carries it through. So that's why it's important. And its condition is important to us also. Now there are standards for IAQ. Now we've spoken about 62.1, we've spoken about ASHRAE standard 170. People have put light on it, all the standards earlier also. There is a standard even for how you should clean an HVAC duct system. There's a body called National Air Duct Cleaner Association in the US. They've been active for 25-30 years. They've been updating their guidelines. And the problem which they initially formed this organization was a lot of people in the industry were not doing it up to strength. And the consumer did not know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. You spend money, you get something done, but you don't know, is this what I was supposed to get? So those standards have come to place. A very important question. Sir, मैंने duct साफ कर दिया पर मेरा हवा खराब है. IAQ करना. It is not the duct system that is contaminating the building. It is your building that is contaminating your HVAC system. Because the environment in your building is so bad, that is going and finally ending up in your duct system. And getting, so most people have this misconception that when a duct saaf kar liya, to my air quality will improve. Your air quality was already bad, that's why it got dirty. Otherwise, why did it get dirty? हम जब duct system डालते हैं तो clean रहता है ना. तो dirt dust आया कहाँ से? It came from the building. So that misconception should be removed. That I will do duct cleaning and I will do an IAQ audit and my air will get better. How will it get better? That was the source. These systems are the lungs of your building. That's how your building breathes. What you bring in goes back in and stays in and circulates and comes back to you. You follow the wrong bad protocols, it's going to come back more mature, more dangerous. Over a period of time, it gets even worse. So that again, just imagine if your lungs, you're breathing bad air and inhaling bad air. That's what HVAC is. Now, question is microbial growth. Now, somebody spoke about mold. Now, where does the mold go and where does it come from? One of the major areas is also the HVAC duct system. Now, what does it mean for bacterial or microbial or fungal growth to take place? Right kind of humidity. आप मशरूम प्लांट में जाओ, उगाने के लिए आपको मॉइस्चर एक पर्टिकुलर लेवल का चाहिए. टेम्परेचर हम लोग मेंटेन करते हैं. मशरूम फार्म में क्या टेम्परेचर मेंटेन करते हैं हम लोग? वही 22, 21. That is the temperature in your duct system, which you are up through air. So, and the third item is food source. Now, what is this food source? ये dirt or debris जो आपके duct system में जा रहा है, the debris that is getting into the system is the food source. So now we have created an ideal environment for regeneration, regrowth. And where is it going to go? Into the occupied space. And think about it, 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, it's getting worse and worse and worse. So we have to fix it. Moisture कहाँ से आएगा? Water damage. HVAC systems में, if you see on the AHU side, in most of the places I've gone, the acoustic insulation at the backside of the coil is wet. In most of the situations. and we pay no attention to it. And that is the breeding ground, and you're sending it right through. There's a lot of moisture because sweating takes place. The air velocity is higher. People remove the filter also to improve the cooling. Go to many of these AHUs, you'll see the filter has been removed. It's too hot today. Remove the filter so that we get more air pass through. And it's a standard thing I've seen across the board. Because the administrative guy is not coming and checking AHU, what is happening in the AHU. He's just telling the guy, cooling nahi ho raha. It's not cooling. Take a solution, sir. He takes out the filter, keeps it on the side. And that's what happens. Humidifiers are there in cold countries. We don't, in dehumidifiers. Humidifiers, where it's too cold, it's too dry. So they use humidifiers to increase the humidity level. Because there, in some cold countries, it can go down to 30 and even lower. So they use humidifiers. And humidifiers can cause an adverse effect also, if not placed properly, not run at the right fan speed, and all those things. The other source of contaminants or moisture is plants and landscaping within the buildings. You have these fountains, you have these garden areas within buildings, and if they're not looked after properly, there can be very serious consequences. I'll tell you about this case. This was about 20 years ago. It was a nationalized insurance company, and they had a fountain in the lobby, in the foyer, and the building was all round, and offices were on the side. So there was a general manager who used to keep his window open because the main atrium was open, and there was a fountain down there. From there, the water droplets were getting aerosolized. Nobody bothered to see how the fountain was maintained. It was going to the air conditioning system also, and it was going all the way up to the 5th floor. Now, there were many people working in that building. This particular person was susceptible. He got sick the first time, he was in hospital. Got sick the second time, he was in hospital. Third time, he died. He got infected with Legionella. Now, is the duct system that carried it there, or it got aerosolized from the this itself? Now, what you got to understand, it does not affect the same way to other people, but it's not worth a life. How water vapor or moisture moves up, and generally what happens, warm air will move up towards the return, or towards it's physics, and it's going to find its way within the system. Now, temperature can be controlled by equipment. There's another thing that happens with most people. They block vents. मेरे को ठंडी लगती है, मैं यहाँ vent block कर, I'm blocking a vent here, and you see this in many offices. They're not able to manage and control that. And faulty mechanical systems. Like I said, fan coil units are faulty. There's wet insulation. Your coils are in a bad state. They've got such a huge amount of biofilm on it that you can keep cleaning it and the biofilm will catch more dust and dirt. I mean, the way the coils get stuck up is because of biofilms, and that is the communicating channel for most microbial growth. Then, inadequate cooling. Heavily contaminated cooling coils. Now, these are all connected to the duct system, because whatever happens to these areas is passed on to the duct system also. Because air from here is going there. And quite a few places you have designed for 200 people and you have got 400 people in it. So the mechanical system is inadequate. Over a period of time, your company has done very well, they've grown, they've done fantastic. But was the building altered? Was the system altered? No. And this is a standard thing that happens. Now the food source, which goes into the system. Drywalls, ceiling tiles, building materials. How many times in an office have you seen renovation happen? Any precautions taken while renovation is happening? Where do you think all the dust and debris, which is not on the floor, which is getting airborne going, is going to your HVAC duct system? Standard, and you'll find this across the board. The best multinationals don't see that they have to put air scrubber there when a repair work or retrofit work is going on. Nobody is doing that. It is us as professionals who need to advise them. If you're going to work, either isolate the area, pressurize the area where you're doing the work. If not, you're going to aggravate problems within your system. Dust, dirt, debris. Dr. Priya was talking about carpets and hard floors. Both have their pros and cons. We have about 35-40 people here. When you walked in, we have a carpet floor here. Carpet has a tendency and has a static. It does not allow dust to rise up. It holds it down. But same thing with a hard floor. With every step you take, it will get airborne. When it's airborne, it's going to rise as per physics. Hot air will move up, it will carry the dust with it. It will go into the system. There is a solution. Carpets have a problem if they are not cleaned properly. In most cases, housekeeping practices in large organizations are not up to mark. Chemicals is one thing. The vacuum cleaners they are using are the ones that is throwing dirt and dust up in the air. क्योंकि उसमें filter जो है exhaust का अभी कुछ खींचोगे तो filter से exhaust you always go with exhaust. So they are not they don't have a HEPA filter there. So that dust and dirt is also going into your HVAC system. So you are aggravating another problem. And contaminated HVAC systems. How many times have you seen AHU rooms with mold and wetness within them? It's a common phenomenon. The situation they don't even have proper lighting in the air handling units. So you're not even able to see properly how bad it is. You have not a torch देख रहे हो what is the condition, isn't it? And so basically you're creating a situation for yourself. Just as I said, this is the pathways. You have the fresh air intakes. Now even our fresh air is so bad, which is bringing so much of dirt and dust together. Because fresh air aa raha hai and it's a bad like Delhi, we're not taking untreated fresh air with a high particulate level. It is crossing your filter and it's going and getting deposited in the duct system. And then rotating within the building. So you have the filters, you have the coils, and then you have the fan, supply air fan, and then you have the ducts. You can see this one here, the condition of the duct. You'll be shocked when you put a robotic camera inside, what is the actual condition of the ducts inside. Because it's out of sight. This is another picture here which is showing before and after. How it can be and how it is. And you are breathing this air. It's passing from here and it's coming to you. So that's why you need to take those precautions. This is a small animation. I'll come to this a bit later. If I forget, remind me. It's about how we do it. We spoke about coils in air handling units. Generally, we do clean the coils. A lot of us are using just water to clean it because chemicals are affecting the life of the coils, and it really has little effect. It takes out some of the debris from top. The biofilm which is on the coil, biofilm is something like that. On water, you see that rainbow kind of a color. That's how dust and dirt microbial communicate and they get stuck on. So when you're doing it only with water, you tend to have that biofilm still there. Within hours, it will get dirty again. So basically, we're not giving it a solution. There are many solutions. There are also pH neutral chemicals, enzyme-based chemicals which people can use so that they don't damage the coil. But we generally use alkaline-based chemicals. It does some work, but removing of the biofilm from the coil is more important because it will get contaminated very soon. So you put in all that effort and it's back to square one. This is a filters, a microscopic view. This is a good illustration of the coil. This area which you see, which is growing, is the biofilm, on which most of the microbial contamination takes place and they communicate and a colony forms. So you need to remove that. Okay, coming to standards. Now the latest standard we have of NATCA is a US standard, is 2021. You can get it from the net. It's easily available. When you're looking at a property, it will tell you when, what, how, and what questions to ask to your vendor who's doing it. So it's a very important feature. Okay, now what are the benefits of cleaning a system? You got this picture here. This clean and contaminated one. Do you think it will have an impact if we bring it to that after position? You will feel more comfortable. We need to get there And if you see this on a daily basis, would you be happy with it? Would be uncomfortable. The problem is we don't see it because it's out of sight. See, what the NATCA standard teaches you is how to access new and existing HVAC systems, evaluating and verifying cleanliness. How to evaluate? What is considered dirty? What is considered clean? It will never be perfect because it takes time to accumulate. But what is the level of where you would say that it needs to be clean? I have a thumb rule general system. What I do, if I can write my name on the duct with dust and dirt, I consider it's dirty. No tools required. अगर आप अपना नाम लिख सकते हो उसके ऊपर तो समझो गंदा है लगता। तो मैं क्या करता हूँ, डेट डाल देता हूँ और फोटो ले लेता हूँ हाथ से, उंगली से डेट, I put the date on it and I take a picture. So I know which date I had inspected this section of the duct. Now it will help you determine the need to clean. Okay, now the question is what is clean? What NATCA states, all non-adhered dust. Non-adhered means paint adhered होता है, चिपका हुआ होता है. Corrosion चिपका हुआ रहता है. A lot of times there's corrosion also. So free dust which is not stuck on the surface, that is what you remove as per the NATCA standards. And this I'm talking about comfort air conditioning. Cleaning will not remove corrosion marks. Now the reason for this is very important. HVAC systems have to be cleaned in a dry method. We are talking so much about moisture. If I'm going to use chemicals within the duct system itself, I'm creating my own new problem. So as far as possible, unless it is you need to do a mold mitigation or mold remediation, which is already inside, you will not use any chemical or water in cleaning a HVAC system. Very, very important. Second thing which we have to be very important about is cross-contamination. If I'm cleaning a duct, if I'm taking dust from here and sending it to a different area, so might as well not done it. The air was better earlier. I've started cleaning a duct, the dust is coming down. Wahan to it was deposited, the quantity coming out was a lot less. Here I've started cleaning and it's become much, the environment has got a higher PM 2.5. So that strategy, how is he going to contain that dust from not coming in the occupied space? That is the key question any building owner should ask. ठीक है, गंदा है ऊपर, but if I'm cleaning, how will you ensure that it doesn't come down? Which most people don't ask. The duct system needs to be totally pressurized with a negative air machine. And that negative air machine should have a HEPA filter in the exhaust. And then and only then can he put his tools within the system to start cleaning. In fact, I'll just show you a animation which I did not show you earlier, so that you can understand it better. Now you can see he's put a brush system inside. He's pushing the dust in the opposite direction, but there is a 10-inch hose. I'll go back. See this thing here, the green box here? It is a negative air machine. So he has closed all the entry and exit points. There is one entry point and there is one exit point which has got a negative air machine, which has got a HEPA filtration, primary, secondary and HEPA filtration on it. So what he has done, any dust which is agitated now will not escape from his controlled contained area. And this is the question most people need to ask when you're doing a duct cleaning project. Otherwise, you will make the project worse than it was before. Generally, in our industry, sir, हम robotic cleaning करते हैं. And the guy is very happy, sir, robotic cleaning. But that is not the issue what tool he used. The issue is, while cleaning it, did he make the area dirtier? Did he contaminate the building further? Now, what are the determining needs to clean? These points, your performance, level of contamination, how old the system was. Generally, I would recommend in India, we should at least inspect the system once a year. Unfortunately, our Indian environments are very dirty. I would recommend cleaning it annually, but people don't have budgets. Inspection you inspect it every year, and if that's acceptable to you, I can live with this kind of dirt. I don't want to do it now. That is your call. Generally, what is happening? People are brushing it aside. Kisne dekha nahi, to hai nahi. But it is causing a lot of issues. I will be on time. Now, if you have mold growth within the duct system, if you had moisture, you had a great environment, you will have mold. As I said earlier, some hotels, you were getting bad smell, and they were covering it with lowering the temperature. Now, this bad smell is because it is contaminated with mold, and the mold is contaminated because the duct system has been contaminated. Rather than cleaning the duct system, he's spending more electricity on keeping it cooler, on survival. Because if he has to clean the entire TFA and the short duct from the FCU, which he doesn't want to do, because he does not know how to justify it to finance. Utility will justify it somewhere capital. For project finance, he finds it difficult. And you'll find this in the best hotel chains in India. And chief engineers are doing it. The other thing which comes in, how often have you found birds in the fresh air intake? Now, the bird drop-ins are some of the most dangerous indoor environmental issues. People die critically if they get infected, especially pigeons droppings. Now, again, if the duct system is contaminated with it, you cannot take any chances. You have to, and I would tell you, in 25 to 30% of the sites I've been to, you have birds into the fresh air system. You must have, most of your contractors, you must have seen it. Mold, again, from the HUs to the plumbing to the leakages, all areas where moisture is there, you'll find mold growth. And you'll find the most in the air handling unit, next to the air handling unit. The drain, if you see the HU drain, the exit of the drain is full of mold in most of the HU units. And that is going back into your system. The other thing is glass wool, or now we're not using glass wool so much, but in earlier AH units we used to have glass wool. Now they get contaminated, they get wet, and they get disintegrated. What happens when they get disintegrated? It is blowing right through the system. आप मुझे बताओ, आप handle भी करते हो उसको, तो you start itching. It is blowing right through the buildings. And people are breathing small fibers of it. It's falling on their skin. And believe me, it's a common problem in IT companies. Now they are changing in a lot of places, but your duct is already contaminated. Now there are maintenance practices happening. Even the black insulation which you're using, even that disintegrates over a period of time. And it all goes through the system. A lot of your customers have complained, oh black कचरा गिर रहा है ऊपर से. अरे वो black कचरा इसलिए गिर रहा है because that acoustic insulation has deteriorated. Now you did not change it on time, so now where is it? Throughout the gas system. And duct cleaning should be part of your indoor air quality program. So inspection, because they are the source from where you're getting the air. So what are we talking about? Inspection. Then the next thing, when you go to your site, you have to discuss a work plan. You got to understand, people are working in this building on a daily basis. So work plan will decide, how are you going to protect them? What are the risks? What are you going to start with? What are you going to finish with? If a vendor is not able to give that information to you, he is not fit to do that job. Because he's going to end up affecting more people. Then what engineering controls you going to put? Like the negative air machine. If he has not put engineering controls in place, don't give him the job. Because you will only aggravate it. You better not do the duct cleaning. You are better off not doing the duct cleaning. Because if you are not doing the engineering controls, then what cleaning procedures you are going to follow? See, there are many cleaning procedures. There are many tools. You can have a push and push. You can have push and pull. You can use high-speed air nozzles. You can use air whips. You can use brushing systems. Again, brushing systems are of many kinds. Even the knowledge of what brush to use on what size of duct and what kind of duct is a knowledge which a skilled technician has. And most definitely a robot which is now what is a robot's main function? Most people talk about robotic cleaning, and it's a common terminology. Your main function of a robot in a HVAC duct system is your eyes within the system. You can mount brushes and air whips on it, which we do sometimes. But what the general, if it's a bulk job or a dirty job, you put brushes in. First you put the robot in, it does an inspection. Then you put pressurize the duct. Then you put brushes in, you put air whips, nozzles in, clean, again put the robot in. And what you cannot clean, the small corners, that's when you put the robot in to access a specific spot. That's how it's generally done. What is the requirement of a cleaning job? He has to give a recording of complete duct before and after. That is proof of job. So what he has to prove? All non-adhered dust has been removed. You will have other issues where there's paint inside, there is corrosion inside. Don't try to do a wet cleaning job inside. You will create an adverse effect. Only if you find mold growth within a duct system, that's when you use a chemical. There are safe chemicals which are USCP approved, which you can use within a duct system to remediate mold. Get the dust out first and mold. The best way to find out if mold contamination is there or not. Due to gravity, dust stays at the bottom. But if you have dust all around the duct, that means you have a mold infestation. That is a clear sign of identifying. So you will find a lot of ducts with just dirt at the bottom, and that's okay. Where you find it right around the duct, it is a moldy situation. So now you have to do two things. Get it out first, then find the source. Because if you have not fixed the source of the moisture coming in, it will come back again. And then use a chemical to remediate the surface to make that surface unattractive for growth. But unless you found the source of the moisture. So your duct cleaning company should understand this and know this. Now, when you're talking about cleaning an HVAC duct system, it means from the AHU to the last grill. The AHU is part of it. The AHU also has to be cleaned. So anybody who's telling you that I don't need to clean the AHU, you have a contractor who's doing the AHU. Please insist that he cleans the AHU also, because that's part of the severe part of that problem. One question that comes pretty often is in places where there is no return duct. We have open cavity spaces. A lot of dust gets accumulated on the ceilings. Those ceiling duct area is a very low pressure area. So the amount of dust migrating from there is very less. The problem being, if you touch that, the containment requirement is huge. The cost is astronomical because you have to contain that dust. If you start doing the ceiling, opening it up, and it's spread over the entire floor, it's very difficult to contain. But the good thing is it's a low pressure area. It's not a high pressure movement. So the dust migration is less. So you concentrate on the supply duct unless there's a return duct existing. If there's a return duct, you'll find the return duct more dirty than the supply duct. Because that's where the dust comes from the building first. And yes, all these standards are there in the ACR as an ATCA standard 2021. The last one was 2013, the 21 came just last year. Okay, next question is how frequent? Now this is US standards. We don't have a standard in India. Personally, I would recommend every year for a commercial property because our environments are very bad. Generally, what companies are doing today, like our customer, is doing once in 2 years. But Rome was not built in a day. There will be time and then people will do it annually also. But insist on annual inspection. So they are aware what they are living with. So when you do a duct contract, usko bolna कि annual inspection aake karo. Now, what are the three methods of determining your duct has been cleaned properly or not? First, visual inspection. That is, your robotic camera has gone in. You've got a video recording of before and after. That's for common comfort air conditioning, the best way to do it. Then is the surface comparison. What do you do in surface comparison? You take two surfaces where after post cleaning of a duct, you use contact vacuum. On one side, you take the vacuum and do back and forth, and then compare on the area which you have not vacuumed. If they are the same, that means the duct has been cleaned as per spec. That's one way of ascertaining that. Because there is a big crowd here who is asking, how do we know it's done properly? And then when you are talking about precision air conditioning, there is a standard there also. 100 square centimeter should not exceed 0.75 milligram of weighted dust. So what you do, you cut a template 25 by 2, air pump with a cassette, pre-weighed cassette. You move it up once, twice, send to the lab, and you see how much weight that cassette has gained. If it is beyond 0.75, that means the duct has not been cleaned to spec. This is specifically for where precision air conditioning is there, where dust is an important issue. Well, there's a cost to it also. NADCA's newly updated general specification describes minimum requirements to coordinate a successful commercial HVAC cleaning project. I've said this. These standards are available on the net. You all can read it. You will get an idea what those standards are and take informed decisions when you do your buildings. Now, what are the general specifications which are there on NADCA specifications? Qualification of the HVAC system cleaning contractor. What are his qualifications? In the US, it's NADCA. We started this business in India around 20 years back of duct cleaning, and that's the time when we started talking about NADCA. Today, though NADCA is not an Indian standard, even in a government tender, they will write, I want a NADCA certified contractor. Now, who's a NADCA certified contractor? He has at least one person in each city who has given an exam as an air system cleaning specialist. So he has to have one ACS on his team in each city to be qualified as a NADCA certified contractor, and for which there is an exam. It's a 300 question multiple choice exam that takes place. There's a huge booklet. When I had done it first time, I had to travel there to do it. Now fortunately you can even go online and do it. The pandemic has helped us there. So when you ask somebody, okay, you're a NADCA certified contractor, fine. Who's your certified air system cleaning specialist? Because he's been trained on the do's and don'ts. And why not? How to develop, he should know how to develop a scope of work. When he does a survey, he needs to be able to come and work out a scope of work and tell you कितना time लगेगा, कैसे करेगा, what will he require. He needs so much power, he needs connections, he needs water connections, he needs electrical connections, and what risk he has. It could be risk for height, it could be risk for electricity, risk. He has to be able to do a risk assessment before he starts the job. He has to be able to inspect and do the site preparation. You know, critically when we are doing a duct cleaning job, the first 2.5 to 3 hours goes only setup. If you want to do it seriously, because you have to see how you pressurize the system. You got to test the system is pressurized or not before you even start cleaning. You've got to make the access doors properly at the right locations so that you get the maximum coverage, and you have to see how you're going to seal it down afterwards. And this has to be planned and done before you start the job. And then finally put the engineering controls in place. Do not start any work till that engineering control of pressurization has been installed. Anybody who is doing that, tell him walk out, because he's going to mess up your building even further. I mean, what are the cleaning requirements? How to do the verification of cleaning? So there should be an understanding between you and the client. What is the verification process? And the reports made, report should specifically state what standards have been followed, when was it done, what was the condition, and what further recommendations he would, now that you've inspected the entire duct system, Maybe there are leakages in it. Maybe there's a corrosion happening somewhere. Maybe there's some other, because you've gone in and seen the system. So the report should contain all that. So again, coming back, you should outline qualification of the contractor, see what the customization scope of work and guidance for developing the scope of work. Every location has got its own unique challenges. Specific requirements to provide safety. Now, our company gives maximum importance to safety. Every training we do in-house, 60% is on safety, 40% on subject matter. Because one incident will bring everybody rolling down. अगर वो सीढ़ी से भी गिर गया, अगर 10 फुट पे काम कर 10 फुट की सीढ़ी पे खड़े रह के काम कर रहा है, that is not an acceptable practice. Anything over 7 feet, he needs to put a scaffold. So basically, you're protecting yourself by putting conditions on the vendor that no accident happens on your watch. Whenever contract works takes 10 साल में नहीं हुआ, 1 साल होगा ना, वही काफी है. Then how to protect the safety of the building occupants, which we spoke about. Quite often we do work at night time. We ask space for our equipment to be kept in the daytime. So every night we start work. That area needs to be cleaned and kept proper. The occupier of the building need not even get a feel that kuch kaam hua hai. And then of course verify how the project was cleaned. Now, most important, remove everything from source. If you don't know the source, it will come back again. Source removal is a very important part of keeping a system hygienic, clean air. The source, what we say, remove it from the source. And ducting में जो debris जो है, वो भी source ही है for the bad quality of air. So remove that also. Maintain negative duct pressurization. Just said again. If you are not doing that, don't start the work. Not only maintaining a negative pressure, but also the machine doing that should have a HEPA. Most important. Following the industry standards, that is the NADCA standard we're talking about, and prevent cross contamination. Now, what benefit do you get from it? A clean system, everybody knows energy savings to high. Improve system performance, yes. You will not get odors, you will not get other impact, and improve quality of air. That's why you're doing it. So, the ACR 2021 talks about all the elements. There is even an energy audit white paper which we have used, which is available on the net online on what is the energy loss when the system is dirty. Thank you. Any questions? How many minutes? Where's Varun?
He's out. He's out.
Yeah, sir?
Yeah. So, sir, like most of the time we neglect right just after construction and the occupancy is starting.
Pre-commissioning. Pre-commissioning is a must. It's not being done in India. What is happening is that they're doing a blowout.
Yes.
And they're blowing out in the building itself. And that is not the way it's to be done. You need the first thing that goes up when a building is being made is the ducts, and everything follows after that. So just imagine the amount of debris that has gone in a period of time. Sir, I'll tell you, there's a very famous pharmaceutical company in Bangalore. I will not name it, and they wanted a pre-commissioning job done. The size of that project was on a 2 square kilometer site, and it was a process unit, and there were laborers working. And we went to the HVACs. People had peed and shat inside. We started to investigate why that. They had toilets for the officers, but for the laborers there were no toilets. The women, for them to walk 2 kilometers outside and do it. So where to do it? Closed room, HVAC. And in the pre-commissioning process, we have found this. We have found batata vadas, we have found helmets, we have found safety shoes, we have found hammers in pre-commissioning. There was a case where there were monkeys in a hospital inside a duct in Delhi. Well, are you aware of this?
2-legged, 4-legged.
So pre-commissioning is important.
So as part of this NADCA, do they also specify filter serviceability and maintenance?
No.
That's part of the AQ?
Filters, there is another standard. which NATCA would specify those standards. It's not their own standard.
But does it fall within the scope of the...
Must. Your filters and coils, if you're doing a duct cleaning job, if you've got all your filters and coils and your AHU, the job is not complete. If anybody tells you कि ये मेरी responsibility नहीं है, हो ही नहीं सकता. The entire air path through which the air is going to pass, the entire lung needs to be cleaned. And I would highly recommend that we start using enzyme coil cleaners because they have they can digest all the biofilm quickly. And when you do alkaline or acid cleaners, what it does, it only punctures the biofilm. So when it punctures, it regrows very fast. If you want that status to last longer, just dissolve all the biofilm. When you dissolve the biofilm, the dirt which is there will just drop like this because there's nothing to hold it. That is the bonding agent.
But the filter by itself, if you have to service or maintain or replace whatever is the mode to be adopted, that is also inspected at the time when the HVAC system is inspected, or is there a separate protocol?
Also inspected when the system is inspected. And when you do a plan, to them you have to tell them that this filters need change.
In fact, need to be inspected more regularly.
So you are anyway inspecting the filters regularly. What happens, because due to regular inspections, you get used to what you see. We come in once a year. So when we inspect it, we have a different viewpoint when we look at the same filter. So this happens, I mean, so you're doing something monotonously every day. You might not be as specific. But when we are coming only once a year, our viewpoint is very different.
Is there a limitation to the size of duct for cleaning?
No limitations. Smallest you can think of, largest you can think of. We've got systems right from we use compressed air very often. We use negative air machines. Most of the tools we use are compressed air tools. Very few mechanically driven. So in the compressed air, we've got compressors right from 12 CFM to 300 CFM. Large compressors where we're doing industrial jobs, where we're using 1-inch nozzles, 1-inch hoses. Now we're doing a lot of industrial large jobs, even with pharma, and where the accumulation levels are huge. We have gone in cases where they've never been done, and powders have become like rock. We had to literally drill through to clean the system because there was an FDA audit coming. In fact, the system was not operational only; it was totally choked. Only 10% was functioning, 90% was blocked. Our wet processes, they're not dry like the HVAC system. Like again, kitchen extraction system processes are wet systems because we are doing degreasing work. HVAC is specifically a dry system, unless there's more.
I just want to understand, may not be a relevant thing, but cost part of it for audit versus cleaning. Any ballpark number for an office kind of running length of that, or
What do you want to audit?
office building, duct or AHU, coil, HVAC system, air distribution system.
In the unit of
Now, our team says commercials we can't discuss on a forum like this.
Number I'm not asking. That's why I was asking forum.
I said you can negotiate offline.
Because see, the day we start doing business here,
No,
this
just not
organization
about
might
business. Like I'm just looking
I'll speak to you within 10 minutes.
So why I'm saying this is like if somebody like
How big is the system? What is the square feet of your office?
Yeah, so it is around 7,000 square feet, let's say.
Say,
Because you are saying this one. No, I'm saying like 1 year one has to do this thing.
if you want someone to come for an inspection, and what an inspection would be to inspect your HU unit, filters, coils, and put a robot inside the duct and inspect the condition of the duct. Make an access door to make that happen. It could be anything from 10,000 to 20,000 rupees. There is a day's shift of work which he needs to do. He has to carry the equipment with him and come there. Now the risk involved is if he moves the robot inside too much, like a joystick and all, he cannot get a negative machine to contain the dust flow. So he has to be very careful what he's doing. Preferably I would say open the grill, take a picture. Don't move a robot inside and play in a sand dune. That dust will come out.
In many situations, we do not have drawings. Okay, like the building, like the heritage building or something like that. So we also don't know where the ducts are clearly going.
So when we define the scope of work, then it becomes our job to locate, find, identify, and decide what process we're going to use, which will be effective, safe.
Why I asked the cost number is for budgeting of the client. Okay, because he has to put it something in his budget which is not regular audit, right? It's a air quality audit.
How the figure might change because it's a budget.
There's a straightaway disclaimer there.
No, good to have this.
Yes.
Since you do a lot of work on mold and detection of mold and remediation of mold,
Yeah.
we have not heard too much in India with respect to mold remediation or mold detection. And can you throw some light on that aspect?
See, to start with mold, most important is find the source. Mold तो आ गया है, उसको निकाल नहीं सकते. But what is the source from where it came? And
General feeling is that kala thing on the wall is mold. Otherwise, there is no mold.
आपको चाहिए सही टेम्परेचर, आपको चाहिए सही मॉइस्चर और आपको चाहिए फूड सोर्स. ये तीन आइटम्स हैं आपको ढूंढने हैं. That will identify the source of that mold. So there is water coming from somewhere, there is a correct temperature somewhere, and there is a food source somewhere. If you have identified these three issues, block them down, you will find out the source. See, remediating will not be so difficult. There are many products you can use for remediating. But if you don't get the source, you can keep doing it and spending money.
Sir, can you tell about that antimicrobial coating which stays for 90 days and then what after 90 days?
It's passive. जब virus when people had very little knowledge on it, everybody was trying different products, so that time we used it. It is not 90 days. There's a small number of touches.
Number of touches.
Or 90 days. I mean, whichever is earlier. So now I'm just putting it specifically. If the number of touches are higher, even 7 days is more than enough. You're talking about an elevator of a very high volume traffic. So शायद daily भी करना पड़ेगा. It is number of touches. So it is a marketing thing. Yes, it will last 90 days, but if you want to have number of touches, it's not going to last.
Is there any standard which defines the age of the filters?
Standard, it defines when would you change a filter? Do you wait for it to get deteriorated, or you say that every year I will change?
We maintain by giving it a filter and get it right, again fit to the issue. Actually, we just change it when the fiber goes default, basically. So, is there any standard?
See, it's very simple. Preventive maintenance है. आपको annually आप filter अपना change करेंगे. Regardless वो गंदा हुआ है कि नहीं. Because if you let it deteriorate, you already contaminated the system. If you want to wait till it deteriorates, you are hampering your own system. So it is, it will go bad in some time. So when you have गाड़ी तो है आपके पास. आप गाड़ी रुकने तक ऑयल चेंज के लिए रुकते हो क्या? नहीं ना. तो चेंज करो ना साल में. फिल्टर का कॉस्ट कितना है? If it's a normal filter, I'm not talking HAPA. आप कितने बार क्लीन करो? I mean, it's what I'm saying, preventive maintenance. This is my personal opinion. People, if I was maintaining a system, I would change it every year.
There's no Indian standard, but there's a US standard again, National Air Filtration Association. Probably you can refer to
to that.
Refer to those standards. It's called NAFA.
But why do you want to wait?
Please, management को भी बुला लो. यानी कि मेरे कहने
You have to justify.
मैनेजमेंट को मैंडेटरी हर साल चेंज करो. बोल दो उसको. अगर आप नहीं चेंज कर रहे हो, इट्स एट योर रिस्क. आप लिख के दे दो कि साल में चेंज नहीं करना है, मैं नहीं चेंज करूंगा. पर लिख के दे दो सर. See, they don't want to take onus and responsibility. Only they want us to take onus and responsibility. Give it to them, na?
Can I add a comment on this?
Yeah.
Since I'm from the filtration side. So the parameters that one should look at is, have we crossed the limits of pressure drop and efficiency?
Yeah.
That's the yardstick for change, and which has to be measured. Otherwise, it's anybody's guess, because looking at a filter, you can never make out whether
Physically, you can't make
you can't make out. So you have to look at pressure drop and efficiency to decide whether it's due for change. The second aspect is filters technically are not meant to be washed. The moment you wash a filter, the efficacy of the filtration is gone. So it's a misnomer, and it's a well-established practice by most people that they use high pressure water and wash filters. But I think that's the maximum and the biggest damage you can do to a filter. So these are certain guidelines that one can think of. And
so you would recommend using a magnetic gauge and check the pressure drop?
Yeah, there are tools available to check pressure drop. So
you can do that if you want.
So,
but general life is 1 year.
You can check the pressure drop, but what about the efficacy? How do you test that?
you can also do particle count.
Oh, but does that have an effect on the filter?
No. It's a non-destructive test.
Handheld part.
It's a handheld particle count.
and what do you suggest for people? 5 years?
No, you should not clean.
Not clean.
You should replace the filter.
Filter should never be clean.
Okay. You're talking of including nylon filters? Or?
Yeah, so if you're talking of pre-filter, which is synthetic material, those can be cleaned because they are fine. But if you're looking at
filters cannot be.
Yeah, you can. If you're looking at anything beyond the pre-filter, which is either MERV 13 or F9 or HEPA or whatever, those cannot.
Those cannot clean. But there's a company in Bangalore I came across. The OEM manufacturer was recommending him to clean the HEPA filters. They were doing a fire restoration job there. They were telling him to do it himself.
No, that's the common belief that the filters are meant to be cleaned.
Voltas has launched a new air conditioner, which has got HEPA filters on it. Are you aware of it?
Yeah.
And they're cleaning that, isn't it?
To that level, not exactly HEPA. So
They call it HEPA.
So they call it HEPA, but it's actually it is not that.
This was a very simple topic. No technology in this.
Very useful.
सिंपल है लेकिन सर लोगों को पता नहीं ये जो ऐसे ही चलता जा रहा है
Next time मोड पे पूरा आपको करते हैं. Specifically on mode.